What is happening? I want to share with you 7 woodworking tips that involve using super glue, and some of which even involve using baking soda and even coffee. It's gonna be a little bit of a different video, but I promise you'll get something out of it. So let's make something cool. Now, the glue we're going to be working with today is a CA glue by a company called STARBOND. CA stands for cyanoacrylate, but you probably know it as super glue. Now, this is not a sponsored video, but STARBOND did send us the product for free so we can do kind of a review on it. But I wanted to do a 7 hacks video so I can show you what I typically use these products for. Now, what sets these apart from the stuff that you can buy off the shelf is the array of viscosities that it comes in, and this accelerator right here. More on that in a bit. But let me start by showing you the differences in viscosities between these guys. The thin has the consistency of water. The medium and the medium thick black have the consistency like 100% pure maple syrup. The thick, on the other hand, has the consistency more like Aunt Jemima's syrup. Now, recently I was making picture frames out of pallets, and I love knots. I don't try to avoid them, I actually try to keep them. But I noticed that this particular knot was very loose, and I was probably gonna lose it. So instead of filling it in or trying to glue it with wood glue, I just simply flip it over, find a nice inconspicuous spot. This would actually be a good job for the thin. Then spray it down with some accelerator. That knot is going nowhere.
Nowhere! Where you going? Nowhere!
And just check out the shear strength on this stuff. Little accelerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Watch what happens when I add moisture, because really the stuff is meant to activate by the moisture in the air. Accelerator. 1, 2. But this becomes very handy when we want to make some quick jigs, or maybe like say a stop for like the miter saw or something. I am also in the middle of an acoustic guitar build, and this is mahogany. This is very expensive stuff. Now, I just happen to have some of this laying around the shop, but this is a wood you want to save. Also, if you're buying guitar kit wood, we're talking hundreds of dollars. Now, pretty much every time I try to plane my end grain, I get what we call a check, where a nice big chunk of wood comes chipping off the corner. So we're gonna save our nice expensive wood with our medium viscosity. Little accelerator. Saved. Now, if you're not really looking to so much stabilize a knot, but rather fill in a knot and make it look more natural, that's where the medium thick black comes into play. I've got a fairly expensive slab Can't work around these knots, don't want to. I've also got a bird's eye maple. I don't have to tell you that this is also very expensive. Got a knot right here I can fill in. Instead of having to mix up a black with your clear, we just simply fill that sucker in. Spray it down with some accelerator. Now you've got a knot that's filled in and has lots of character. Now if I wanted to do the same thing, but I wanted to go for a more natural look or a more natural texture, I could just use coffee grinds or coffee grounds to fill those in. Then take the thin and just flood it. Little accelerator. Now we just sand that flush. And then when we rub this down with oil, you'll never notice the difference. You got a nice natural fill-in. But while we're talking about filling things in, that'll bring us to our next hack. Check out what we can do with a little baking soda and some thin. So if you want something fast and strong, and you're trying to bond to silly things like MDF or PVC, again, a little bit of thin. And seconds later, you can go ahead and paint that, and you'll never know the difference. I'm about to get real personal with you because I am about to show you my drawers. This is really embarrassing. I am so embarrassed at the sight of my drawers, but we're gonna whip up a quick organizer and get this all straightened up within minutes. So I used to work in a couple different tool and die shops, and I would program and set up the CNC machines, and in between parts we'd have a lot of time on our hands sometimes to do silly things like organize our drawers. So we'd cut up a bunch of strips of Luan, and we'd take something like the thick, and we would just start piecing organizers together. I believe the technical term for this kind of work is called government work. And you just keep trucking along like that. So I hope you enjoyed these hacks. Obviously these are not cure-all be-alls, but I thought I'd give you a couple more tools to put under your belt for the outside of the box thinking and those outside of the box projects. Oh, and don't forget, there's a link down below for Michael Builds merch if you want to help support the channel. There's also a link down below if you're into this product for a 10% discount. So please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing so. I promise you won't regret it. And I'll see you in the next video where we get to play with fire.